Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And this,
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, please make sure you like the Facebook page. And as well on YouTube, if you are viewing us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. Ding! Thank you for that, Ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter or X or again, whatever you want to call it, check us out at X Talking Ish and as well on my personal page at X underscore Williams81. I'm going to go ahead and retweet it right now. Appreciate y'all as always for tuning in to week 15 recap. Before we get into the week 15 recap, of course, I just want to introduce a very special guest, not new to the show, but we love it when he's on here, Mr. Adrian Lunsford.
What's up, fellas
what's up,
Nothing
Adrian?
much, same
and
old, same old.
fans? The
You
good
definitely
people out
can't be
there.
having a good time.
How are y'all?
Oh, I think he throwing a little shade over there to the Steelers.
Oh no, hey, but hey, just go back to one of them episodes. I already told you they were what they were.
Mm-hmm.
They are who we thought they are.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't lying.
That's the thing about Adrian.
Everybody else,
Adrian ain't surprised by this. Adrian saw
yeah,
this part coming.
yeah, everybody try to convince me. Oh no, I'm in the record. Nah, I'm telling you what I'm looking at on film. Trash, trash. So yeah, it's a lot more. It's hey, I hope they don't make the playoffs just so I don't have to watch it.
Well, you heard it here. Well, the interesting thing about what Adrian just talked about, of course, the playoffs are gearing up in about 4 weeks. We are almost done with the regular season, and it's the best time of the year. I ain't talking about Christmas. Playoff football, baby. Playoff football is right around the corner, and I think we all are kind of on the same mindset when it comes to who are the contenders and who are the pretenders. The last 3 weeks of the season, I think, really is going to determine really mainly the MVP race more so than how we view some of these teams. Because again, in the NFC, I think we kind of know who's there and who's not going to be there towards the end of the season. And with the AFC, it's such a I want to say a cluster, but it definitely is when it gets to the playoffs. If you match up with somebody that you don't are not good at playing against, you could definitely be out of the playoffs in the first round, even though you won 10, 11, maybe even 12 games. So again, I definitely want to get into that. We'll get into that in a little bit. First things first, though, before we get into the topics, I want to ask my brother Ish here how he's doing tonight. How you doing, sir? I spoke with you in a couple of days.
Yeah, still not getting any sleep. So there you go.
If people don't know, Ish is not getting any sleep because he's busy at his house. I'll let Ish tell his story once his time is ready to tell. I'm not going to be that person, but just know that Ish is not getting any sleep because he has some things to do at the household. So, with that being said, we'll leave it at that. Adrian, before we get started, how are you doing over there on your end?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Anytime I'm on here talking with you guys, it's always fun, enjoyable. This is, you know, it keeps me up. Golden State Warriors are playing, so I'm watching that and talking football.
All right. Well, we appreciate you as always for being on. And the reason why I'm bringing up this topic, quote unquote, the state of football, is because other NFL legends like a Tom Brady and other guys like a Peyton Manning and names of that nature have spoken about the state of football, not just this year, but in years past when it comes to the referees, when it comes to the way that hits have been called when it comes to injecting players, targeting things of that nature. I really wanted to change this episode up for this week when it comes to having a roundtable discussion with obviously the members that are here on the show, but also, of course, everybody that's tuning in. I want to hear how everybody is viewing not just the NFL, but college football, high school football, the lower levels when it comes to Little League. Ish, of course, I know he has his hands into Little League football out here in Houston. Adrian, of course, has his hands in the high school realm and, of course, in college. So we see a lot when it comes to football. And like Tom Brady spoke about just less than a week ago on I can't remember the podcast that he was on. but he pretty much made a statement that a lot of people didn't like what he said. And if I'm being honest with you, mainly because of the messenger, not the actual message itself. A lot of people feel as though that the reason why football is soft now is because of Tom Brady. And I don't think it's fair to single out one person, even though you might be correct on what you're saying, because yes, Tom Brady did probably get a lot of calls and a lot of things going his way due to you can't touch the golden boy, right? But in reality, anybody that I've known that played football in Tom Brady's era has nothing but respect for him. We'll talk about how big of a competitor he is. Will get knocked the hell out by a guy like Ray Lewis or anybody else in that early 2000s and early 2010s, and will get right back up and talk shit. And what he said was correct in regards of the fundamentals of the game. I think on all levels, and Adrian, I'm pretty sure you see this on the lower level. It seems like the fundamentals of football are kind of, I wouldn't say going away. I think they are being put on pause because I think we see so many great athletes in the game of football that things aren't being ran like they should. And I'll just give you a quick example. Back at Peyton Manning, when he was running that offense with the Colts, and Adrian, we talk about this a lot. That offense was based on timing and being at a spot. Marvin Harris, I need you at a spot. Reggie Wayne, I need you at a spot because when I throw this ball, this is where it's going to be. Now, when you see a lot of offenses, and I'll just use the Kansas City Chiefs, or even a guy like with the Miami Dolphins with Tua and Tyreek Hill, some of these guys are not running quote unquote correct routes, correct 10-yard dig routes, correct 10-yard out routes. A lot of these routes are option routes, right? A lot of these routes are routes that are playground football routes that, hey, just get out there and get open. I'll throw it up to you, right? So when you're doing that in the NFL, it trickles down to the lower levels, and college guys think they can do the same. So you have high school guys looking at college guys. Hey, high school guy, I can do that too. So we're seeing a lot more athleticism in the game, which is great. But unfortunately, when you add athleticism, some guys feel as though you don't have to do the small things that allow you to be that great athlete and that great player in general. So I don't want to spend too much time on myself talking about this. I want to hear what everybody else had to say about this. So, Adrian, I'll start off with you, and we'll circle back to Ish.
Well, I'll say this, X. It's not that the game, that the fundamentals are gone, because it's the fundamental of what football is today. The problem is everybody's trying to make football a pure sport in the sense that it's what you grew up doing, but it's constantly changing. There's no The evolution of football is not what it was when I played. It's not before I played, there was guys that played in leather helmets. It's the evolution. And the problem is that everybody has an opinion when you're playing the sport and you're in it. Like when I was playing pro football, I had a different opinion than now that I'm not playing. And as a fan, I want to see certain things because it keeps me tuned in. When I was playing, I didn't care about the way that it looked to the other person because, like you said, I was competitive. I was a fierce competitor. I'm competing. There's no way that you play a combative sport and not have that switch that goes on, that you understand that you don't want to see no harm to the guy across from you, but you do want to see harm to the guy across from you. And that was just the facts of the matter. And so I think that we're at that point that no matter what, it's the bad thing is this used to be only talked about in barbershops. This only used to be talked about in the grocery store. This only used to be talked about at Thanksgiving, Christmas, when you're around your family. Now we're at social media, so now everybody can spread it out the same way we're having a discussion. This wouldn't have happened when I was in my era. We would have had to call each other long distance, spend money on long distance phone call to talk about something that all three of us would agree on, like, oh, it's a violent sport. Let's play, you know, and that's just the way it is. And I really think that it's just evolution. and nobody's gonna ever be happy. Period. End of story. They're just not gonna be happy.
Ish, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think with the state of the world the way that it is now, the internet and how easily accessible a lot of the material is, not to mention the state of how we like things to go viral. We like clips. We like quick, 10-second clips or whatever. It makes it easier to isolate some of these more violent plays, some of these more, gruesome injuries. We can clip those, and those can be played over and over and over again. And the type of hyper awareness we have to these things that were happening, previously, we just now, we isolate those events and then we just hyper fixate on them. And when you're in a culture where you know people want to give their opinion and people want to have their opinion be the loudest, you're going to have situations where conversations start and people want to say, we need to make this change, no, we need to do this, we need to do that, and everybody's going to have their opinion and we're going to constantly talk about it, and it's only going to get worse, right? Because the way social media is, it's not going to make it any easier to handle these situations. As far as like the state of it and like where we are and the training, from the youth level all the way up, um, I think we've always had the issue that we have today, in the sense that football, no matter what you've done, where you've been at, what level you've been at, it's about winning. And a lot of people like to say like, "Oh, go have fun, go have fun." No, it's about winning. And especially for coaches, whether it be at the youth level, you get into like middle school, high school, especially college and in the pros. Well, you're gonna take your best athlete, and a lot of times, and I'm sorry to say it, a lot of times, not every coach out there is like that, but we got a lot of coaches that if I got an athlete that I know can go out there and just out athlete everybody, I don't have to worry about the fundamentals. I don't have to worry about if I'm preparing him for his high school coach or his college coach or what position even he projects to be, because that's one of the biggest conversations I've had with kids at the youth level when talking with them about why we've put them in certain positions or why we try to work with them on certain things, um, is because a lot of coaches aren't looking out for your best interest down the line. They just want to win right now. And so if I can put you in a place where you're going to help me win right now, I don't care if you don't project to be in that position, years from now. And I have been lucky enough and blessed enough to coach a lot of really good guys. And one of the biggest highlights of my coaching career just happened this past weekend when one of the kids that I coached, um, all the way from I think it was sixth grade through eighth grade. He just committed to Alabama this weekend, and I was so excited. And one of the biggest, like the thing that made me the proudest of that situation, is that we were the first coaching staff to take him and say, you know what? Everybody wants you to play quarterback because you're a really good athlete. We're going to move you to wide receiver because we think that's where you project in the long run. And we're going to move you to DN because we think your body type and how you're built, that's just what you're going to do. Lo and behold, he gets to high school. He plays receiver and DN, is one of the top athletes in the country, a four-star athlete, and commits to Alabama. And it's like, I can hang my hat on that and say, we took this kid that was playing out of a position, and because we thought of his future and we wanted the best for him, we put him in a situation that he would be successful, not only for us, but down the road, he would be successful. And look where he is now. And not every coaching staff does that. I'm not to say I'm the only person that does that. There's a lot of people out here that are out here looking for the best interest, but there are also a lot of people out here that they need a job and they got to win. And so I'm gonna put a kid wherever I'm gonna put him, and he's gonna win games for me. So I mean, the state of football has always been that, I think, but again, with social media and us putting clips out there and us wanting to have the next viral sensation, We just hyper fixate on it more because now it's easily accessible. You can scroll through Twitter and you find, 10, 15 kids very quickly where you can see all their highlight tapes and everything. And now we're talking about, oh, where I wonder where that kid's going to commit. And, 2 years from now, that kid didn't even make it out of high school.
Yep.
I think it's interesting what you talked about, of course, with the kid that you coached, because what that also I think indicates, and Adrian, you're more than welcome to chime in on this as well, is that comes down to scouting. That comes down to you as an individual played the game, you know the game, and you are able to translate your knowledge of the game to project for somebody to hopefully be something that you see in them that somebody that maybe not have played football wouldn't have been able to see. So they might say, hey, go play, go play quarterback or go play offensive lineman. And that kid might say, you know what, I don't like football anymore. Quit and don't play football ever again, and end up in the street, dead, or just not just being an average person, which again, nothing's wrong with that, but not being able to fulfill your own destiny. So
Yep.
now this young kid gets an opportunity to go to one of the top notch schools in the nation when it comes to obviously football aspect and also academic as well too. I hear nothing but good things when it comes to their programs and college as well when it comes to Alabama and their programs. So it goes to show you that a sport like this can help and uplift a lot of kids and good or bad areas, right? Because if you don't mind correcting me if I'm not, is he from Cyprus area or
Oh, no, no, no. This was in Kansas City.
Kansas
And
City?
and to
Okay,
be honest, I mean, his he was from a single family home. His
okay.
mom was doing a lot for him and his younger brother.
Hmm.
She was, trying her best to get them out to practice and do stuff. And we really just wanted to take him under our wing. I mean, was he a good player? Yeah, he was a good player. But he had a lot of work to do. And a lot of coaches probably wouldn't have taken the time that they needed to really be with him and understand his situation and work with him. And it just makes me so proud and so happy to see him where he is now. And he was able to win a state championship this year. I mean, there's just to see the growth and see where he's been able to come from. It's been amazing, and that's the sort of thing that you hope a lot of these youth coaches, a lot of these coaches that are coaching in middle school, coaching in high school, you hope a lot of them are wanting those sorts of situations and stories for their kids, for each and every kid that they coach, right? Like there are a lot of kids that you end up touching, a lot of kids you end up working with. And at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be able to make it to the top level, just from the sheer numbers that's in the sport. But at the end of the day, I want what's best for you and what you can project and get to, right? If that be you ride this till you get a college degree, I want that for you. If that be you ride this until you're a senior in high school, and then you know what? Hey, you go off into the sunset and you say, hey, I had fun while I got to play. I want that for you. Like you want these things for these kids, and you hope that all of the coaches, as they're developing these kids, that they can get there. The problem, though, in the state of football that we're in right now is that, let's be honest, with name and image likeness now, there's money out there. It started a lot younger. I mean,
I hear it's starting in Little League now in
it's starting
Georgia.
to literally.
Yeah.
Hey, my cousin lives right here in Cyprus. He got recruited to go play for a team in Dallas. How my aunt and uncle drove 4 hours to go to Dallas to go play games for a team. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't know. My mom, I don't think she ever would have done that. But then again, when there's money out there and people are willing to pay people to go do these sorts of things because of the hype it brings to your team, the name it brings for you, your team and your organization, and the money you can make from that. I mean, it's a different time. It's a different time. Kids are able to get a lot more than what we were able to get, and the exposure is easy, right? Like it's easy to get exposure right now,
Especially
Very much
social
so.
media.
Good
Yeah.
and bad exposure.
good and bad. You're right,
And
good and
and
bad.
that's the part that we're, that's where, like you said, there's money out here to be made. And um I think that for whatever reason, I don't think that the state of football is in a bad spot as much as think the state of greed is in the bad spot. Like I don't think it's football that's the problem. I
Mhm.
think that it's everyone sees an opportunity to try to capitalize on what they perceive to be good money. And the saying, I don't know, people that shoot dice like myself, and all money's not good money. You play dominoes, all money's not good money. And I think that's where we're really at. Like I said, I don't think sports. I kind of got into a little Facebook talk today with somebody, and I usually don't post on Facebook because of
Mhm.
for this exact reason. But I got in a conversation about the transfer portal, and people were talking about the exact same thing, and they said the transfer portal ruined high school football, ruined football, and I was like, no, it's the new age JUCO, but no one wants to look at it that way. They made the rule that you had to graduate from JUCO, whereas before it used to be guys could just go to JUCO for one semester. Cam Newton, go,
Cam, yep.
hey, let me go transfer. Everybody knows you're the greatest player. You go to school just so that you can get your
Get
grade
eligible
point,
again.
get
Mhm.
your eligibility up, and then you're going to transfer. Well, it's prime. That's a prime example. That's what the transfer portal's turned into because you have to graduate from JUCO now. So kids aren't going to JUCO. They're going to go to a 4-year college, go for a semester, go for a year, whatever it takes, and then they're going to get in the transfer portal and go on. And I was telling them the people in the Facebook group, I said, just think about it this way: get bigger, faster, stronger on somebody else's dime. Smarter. What difference does it make? Go to a D2 school, take the full ride to a D2 school. Go there, lift their weights, eat their food, sleep in their dorms, get your grades, do everything. Wait 2 years, save your body, and then go transfer into the portal, get picked up, go to play D1 football, and then try to make a living for your. And that's where I think that we've gotten to the greed side of everything. Everybody's kind of seeing the money, but they're not looking at the big picture of all this stuff is coming into place. Just figure out how to use it. Figure out how to use it. Quit looking at how it's such a harmful thing. Oh, it's terrible. I think I liken it to alcohol. I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol, but people that do drink alcohol, it's if you don't abuse it, it ain't killing them. They can have a drink. They recommend a wine a day. A glass of wine before you go to bed or whatever. It's good for you. So it's the same thing. I I played, and I get very frustrated listening to these older guys. Just man, they're stuck on the fact that, oh, what I did it is, well, it ain't the way you used to do it. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Are the fundamentals of tackling the same? No, it's not. So if a kid tackles, they changed the way people were tackling. They came with this hip roll deal. Now guys are getting hurt. Now they're saying, "Oh, that's bad." Well, it's the same thing when you used to stick your face mask in there. They was like, "Oh, the guys are getting hurt." They're gonna come up with a different way to tackle. It's just gonna be the way it is. It's just the way football is gonna go. So
I want to piggyback on what both of you guys just said. Actually, one with Cam Newton, Adrian just brought up, and then of course Ish said earlier about opinions. There was a situation just a week or so ago where Cam Newton spoke about his opinion on quote unquote game managers,
yep.
and for whatever reason, everybody on ESPN that never played football, and I'm not talking about the people that play football, I'm talking about Kimberly Martin and whoever else that wanted to jump in, and anybody that's on Fox 2, Skip Bayless, and whoever else that wanted to jump in on Cam when it comes to what he was speaking about. It blows my mind. Like it said, because we have social media, because we have so many more outlets now that people can voice their opinion. And we say it all the time. Look, you can voice your opinion, and opinions are opinions, right? They're not always facts and whatnot. But sometimes some people need to shut the hell up because your opinion, just because it can't be wrong or right, it also just stupid. You need to shut the hell up. So no disrespect to Kimberly Martin. I think Kimberly Martin is a very good analyst. She does a great job with ESPN. I think she's been tremendous. But for you and anybody else to sit up here and to tell an MVP quarterback to tell a guy that won a national championship with a school who is the little brother of Alabama and who was rookie of the year, who was all this and all this like that. We are not going to judge Cam Newton on his stint in New England. That's what we are not going to do because we already knew before he went there that was not a great destination for him. Don't know why he did it. He ended up doing it. It is what it is. But same situation with Tom Brady, like I spoke about. You can discredit Cam because of how his hair is worn, because of his hats, because of what he wears, because of this, because of that. At the end of the day, you ain't trying to see him coming down full speed to try to make a tackle on him.
No.
Okay. You ain't trying. Unfortunately, his best receiver at one point in time was Ted Ginn Jr. At one point in time, his main receiver was a tight end. Okay. So we're not going to act like Cam Newton is just this bum, and it's easy for somebody to say, oh, well, he has CMC. He has CMC. Yes, he did. But he also has CMC in a system that was not for him, which, again, he's already spoken about that before when he said that the coaches like Matt Rule, who's now coaching in Nebraska at a college and whatnot, not in the NFL anymore, was in over his head as the head coach for the Carolina Panthers. I'm pretty sure he's a good guy. I'm not knocking him or anything like that. I'm just talking about him as a coach for the Panthers. It seemed as though that nobody in that building respected him. And like Cam talked about on the podcast, y'all brought Cam back to help because y'all were so bad. And I think it was Sam Howell that was there at the time he was speaking of. And he was saying that him and Sam were getting into this, oh, no, I'm starting. No, I'm starting type of back and forth when he told Sam straight up, I wouldn't even be here if you were doing your job. Now, I like that he is speaking on factual things that he had to go through because we all know when you are playing no matter what level of football, high school, college, pro, you got to keep everything in-house, right? Everything is in-house, just like a family, until people start disrespecting you and start discrediting you, and now you got to come out here and tell the truth of what really is going on. So for Cam, he has a great opportunity with this podcast to voice whatever he wants to voice. Of course, he has multiple businesses. His net worth is $75 million. So we're not going to just act like this guy, he's a hater. He's hating on these young quarterbacks because he feels as though he's better than them, and he's broke. He just need a check. He's fine. He's fine. He probably want another check. I would want another check. The way they out here giving money to Trevor Siemian and Tommy DeVito, Mr. Italian, of course. I guess again we have a Linsanity all over again. Again, you got these guys that are okay, not the greatest. And even with Cam, again, he's not peak Cam at all right now. But he's already stated that he could be a backup quarterback to mentor somebody. But I just think at this point in time, same situation with Colin Kaepernick. I think a lot of people are kind of just moved on.
They should be.
Unless it's a situation for him that actually fits him, which right now across the league I don't see.
Cam Newton's not a mentor type of guy. So he's an alpha male. He's not going to mentor. And probably one of the biggest problems is they're not Cam Newton. And that's the part that he has talent that other guys don't have. And so mentoring with talent is hard because you're telling somebody to do something that you can do, but they're not even going to ever be capable of doing it. I don't care how they do it fundamentally or whatever. And it's the whole thing, everything is starting to become that because they started letting journalists no longer be journalists. Now they're color commentators. They all got an opinion. They used to just write the news. They used to just write up what happened. Cam Newton got hurt, blah 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 blah. Now it's Cam Newton got hurt, but this is why, because I see he doesn't train as hard as he needs to. His off season's not this or whatever the case may be. And that's the part that's starting to happen in the media. And like it said earlier, it's not the state of football, it's the state of social media is where what's changing everything. It's why these things are popping up and why they're like we're talking about it tonight. We're having a conversation, a round table about the state of football. Like Really? Where is football going? Where is it going? It ain't going anywhere. Are they gonna make it flag football? No, they'll never make it flag football. Will they make it? Will they make it? Um, where people say it's not violent. There's no way you can play football and not be violent. I'm telling you now. There's no way you can't. It may not be what you think it should be, but you can't line up and physically go against another person in front of you and not be violent, or you will not make it. Period. End of story. You will get destroyed because the guy on the other side has got a job to do. And again, like I said, I don't want any harm to you, but I want harm to you. That's just the way football is, and that's the way it always will be.
Yes, sir. Definitely respect that. I mean, because it is what it is. It's the reason why football is popular. Why it always has been popular since the debuts because of the violence in the game.
And one more thing, too many people are speaking on something they never done. It's like me trying to talk about brain surgery. You know, I've never done brain surgery. I've never been a brain surgeon. So why should I become an expert all of a sudden because I watch YouTube and seen how they do brain surgery? No. And that's where we've allowed they've allowed so many people to come into
Come
the
into
game of
space,
football.
into the
Yes,
space.
to
Yes,
come into the space
100%
of
agree.
football.
Hmm.
And it's one thing to play football. And I'm like you, Ish, when you said earlier, it doesn't matter the level of football that you play. I don't care if you played one snap of pee wee football, you played violent for one snap. Period. End of story. No different than a guy that played 15 years in the NFL or 20 years and their whole career. Football is football, and that's the part that if you played it, you understand it. You understand what you're getting yourself into and what you're buying yourself into. Whether you play in little league, whether you play in high school, whether you play in college, whether you play in the pros, it has no bearing on. But now we got too many people that never ever put on a football helmet or pads and play. And they can do X's and O's. They understand the game. They can talk the game. But they don't know the mentality of the game. And that is a huge problem. Huge problem.
You let me know how you feel in the middle of fourth quarter and shit during either a hot or a cold game, and it's 6.5 minutes left to go, and you down by four, and
Right.
I ain't never been in that position before.
Yeah, and you're looking at your teammates. You got a teammate, you got one guy that you're saying to yourself, "Oh, this person's over here," and you're going, "Man, I just need you to make one play. I need you to make a play. I need you to do this. Don't mess. Hey, don't jump off sides, y'all." And we've all been there, like been in the huddle. Don't jump off sides. Hey, don't get no stupid penalty on defense. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then it happens. Somebody does it. You get a penalty. Do you stop the game and go off on that dude? No. In your mind, you're like, we got to fix this. We got to fix it because that's what it's about. That's how it is. And we've all been there. When you win a game, no matter what, you go back, you look at the film, you watch the film, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter how bad the coach talks to you after a win. It don't hurt. It don't bother you. You can sit through a film session. Coach can rip you a new one. When you win, you're like, yeah, whatever,
That
coach.
that grade sheet could be a whole bunch of negatives, but shit, we got the window.
Right. And when you lose, oh, that's when. So that's why it's always competitive. It's always about the competition, the wins and the losses. And like you said, that's always been a cliche thing. Hey, go out and have fun.
Have fun.
Fun is winning.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Fun is the winning. That's it.
Like Denzel said, remember the Titans, baby. How much fun you plan on having this year? Hey, zero fun. No, no, no. You tell me how much fun you want to have. Hey, football is it's fun, right? Hey, it's fun
That's
when you're
it.
winning.
That's
It's
it.
fun when you're winning. All right, Ish, you have anything to say about this topic before we wrap this up and move on?
No, man. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the conversation continues to shift. Just with the way the media is, with the coverage of it on social media as well. Um, it's going to be interesting to continue to follow it, especially at like the lower levels. I think at the NFL level, we pretty much got what we got.
Yeah.
But I think at the lower levels, it's going to be interesting to see how that conversation continue to shift and how, man, more and more of these high school kids going to be household names.
At the end of
Yes.
the day, you don't see me out here talking about childbirth. I'll leave it at that. Again, I know there's two different sexes. I'm not trying to go that route, but I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying I'll be out here speaking about having kids. I speak about making them. I have them, so
Right.
I'll
Hey.
leave, I'll leave it at
Well,
that.
no. Hey, I'm with you on that. I had a. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put a little pin in this, and I won't touch it too much. But I'm gonna put a little pin in that. Obviously I do the women's flag football, and
Mhm,
we had a conversation, and a lot of those women play tackle football,
mhm.
and I had the conversation, and you cannot get through the heads of that. It's not trying to be disrespectful, but you cannot compete with guys at the same level. Period. End of story. And you don't understand that level. And people are like, oh, you're being sexist. Well, I just watched, and I wished I would have got who the teams was. I watched a men's soccer versus a women's soccer group, and they beat them 12-0 in a matter of minutes. It didn't even take, and the lady was talking trash, and she was like, oh, we're just as good, equal pay, it should be this, and the guys was like, okay, well, we'll play you to show you that it's not the same thing. And so I'm with you, X. Can't talk about the childbirth because
I ain't never done it. I
you
never
just
done
never done it. And if you play football, I get it. I get it. You can talk about it, but when you're sitting on TV and you ain't never played, it's best to just leave that subject alone.
it. That's
Leave it
all I'm
alone.
saying on that one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the current playoff standings because, like I said, I wanted to talk more so, not so much about the games this week. I just want to talk about the what we're leading into, which is obviously the playoffs. This week we had some, I would say, some good matchups. What we so more so we thought, but most of these games went the way that it probably should. Of course, 49ers beating the Cardinals, Ravens taking care of Jacksonville. Now, one surprise definitely could be the Bills beating the Cowboys, depending
No,
on how you looked at that. Again, depending on how you look at that. If you're a
no.
Cowboys fan, you feel like it might have been an upset.
Well, Cowboys fan think they gonna win every week. I mean,
This,
they won the Super Bowl and they ain't played yet. So you
this is very true. This is very
you
true.
can't you can't judge by Cowboy fans. Period. You throw them out the window on
So
that.
with that being said, like Adrian said, we're gonna throw y'all out the window. We're gonna start with the AFC. When it comes to the standings at the moment, number one seed, if the playoffs started this weekend, it would be the Ravens. Number two, the Dolphins. Number three, the Chiefs. Four, Jaguars. Five, Browns. Six, Bengals, and seven seed would be the Colts. We talked about this conference ish before the season started. We did say that this conference would be a lot tougher than the NFC. It's proving that it's what's going to be towards the end of the season. Number five, six, and seven seed will not stay the same once the postseason starts. And if I'm being honest with everybody that's tuning in, I don't think number one, two, and three, 1, 2, 3, 4 are set as well either. I think this is going to change multiple times throughout the next 3 weeks. I think
Well,
the
the bet.
Ravens should keep the one seed, but wouldn't surprise me at all if they find a way to slip out of that one seed as well. Adrian.
No, I was just gonna say the bad thing is the top three seeds are not the teams to beat to worry about. It's going in the AFC. The problem's going to be don't nobody if the Bills get in, don't nobody want to see them. You don't want to accidentally run into them. You don't want the Chiefs to slip down to number 5 or 6 and have to play them. Um, I
A
the
motivated Chiefs team at that.
right. You don't want that. And then uh, who else is sitting on the outside looking in that's worth something? Not Pittsburgh, but
Maybe the Texans. Maybe the Texans,
another
depending on
another
CJ Stroud.
another yeah, no, I agree.
Depending.
You don't
Yeah.
want to see them. You would that could be a disaster for somebody. You don't
I agree.
because the Dolphins are not legit. They're not a legit team. They're
Yeah,
winning.
I,
They're
I
not a
agree.
legit team.
I agree. We talked
The
about them as being a pretender team last week on the show. Yeah.
Yep.
the Ravens, the only bad thing about the Ravens are they're very solid football team, but you've never seen the next level out of them. You've never seen that next gear. Like
especially in
they
the
could
passing game.
right. You just don't see it. You don't see anything that stands out that's like with the Chiefs, you're like, oh, they got another gear. They got a whole nother gear, and you're like, oh, this could be dangerous. The Jaguars, not for real. Not for real. The Browns can make some noise because of Joe Flacco.
Yep,
And
yep. And I'm
and
happy you brought that up because I was talking about that in the barbershop this weekend.
despite what everybody thinks, he's poised to win because he ain't got nothing to lose. He's won a
Bingo,
championship. He's
bingo.
he's experienced. He's on a team that's
That
not
that,
expected
that
to do
makes
anything.
up and it makes up the same exact team that he was playing for just 2 years
Yes,
ago.
he's got a
Yep.
defense. He's got a run game.
And he
He
has
is
the green light to throw it too.
yes, yeah.
The last couple of weeks, I was expecting Cleveland to ease him into the playbook because obviously he hasn't been there all season. They said, Joe, go ahead and throw it all over the field, and that's what
Yeah,
he's been doing.
why not? The Bengals, nah, not without Joe Burrow. No chance.
Oh yeah,
You,
agreed. But Jake Browning is playing well,
he
and
is.
he's another guy that I was not expecting for the Bengals to throw the ball as many times as they've been throwing with Jake Browning. I'm not saying that they're going to go to Super Bowl or even the AFC Conference Championship game, but they still got their wide receiver trio. Still got a decent defense. I don't think it's as good as the defense that they were able to make to the Super Bowl with, but I will say, watch out for that. The AFC North. We talked about it before the season started, Adrian. And we talked about the division was going to be the toughest and the probably the best division as well. And I think it's living up to that division this year. And if by a miracle, maybe the Steelers can maybe slip in there too. I don't think it's going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. But I'm
I
just
hope
saying.
not.
Imagine if all four teams from the AFC North
Oh,
find a way
please,
to make the playoffs.
please don't let it happen.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I hope it don't happen. And honestly, I'm really, truly, I'm not hoping. I don't want to see them in not at their current state. I tell you who else could be a problem. I don't think they're gonna get in, but eh, they can be a problem because you never know. Denver, they may catch fire.
I
And
think we're talking about teams that have solid defenses, right?
yep.
If the defense can create some turnovers,
Hmm.
put the offense in better positions to either get a field goal, obviously put you in a position to maybe score a touchdown. Yes, that defense alone could maybe get you, and that's what I spoke about when it comes to matchups. Depending on who they match up with, let's just say if the Broncos match up with like the Dolphins, right? We believe
Hmm.
the Dolphins aren't real anyways. If they can find a way to slow down Tyreek Hill, they can maybe find a way to win that game.
Yeah. Well, the Dolphins don't want to see the Broncos again anyway. They put up 70 on them, so
They
I can.
did, but
No,
but
I'm saying they don't want to see them because that is you are
yeah,
not going to put 70 on them again. They're going to come with a whole new vengeance.
exactly.
You do not want to play them.
We're on the same page on that one. If you have anything to say about the AFC, especially with your Chiefs,
Um, I think you were speaking a little highly of the Chiefs and calling them a motivated Chiefs. I still don't know about it. I
I mean,
still don't
my
know.
thing is okay. My thing is the reason why I'm saying that is because at the end of the day, you got Patrick Mahomes, right? Right? Because fortunately or unfortunately, the way you want to view him, he's earned his right so far to say at least we know he will turn it up. Because he's somebody right now that is like a LeBron. And what I mean by that is when it doesn't matter what happened in the regular season, get him into the show. Get him into the show. You'd be surprised. He can maybe get you back. He might not win it all, but he can maybe get you back to a Super Bowl. So,
Oh, he could do it.
but that's
He
what I'm
could
saying. Like,
definitely. He definitely could do it. But it's can the receivers
receivers catch the ball.
can
Yeah.
the receivers catch the ball? If they have a day where they don't drop balls, then
Can they line
yes.
up on side?
Well, that's just terrible,
But
man.
again, though, I agree with what y'all saying, but they have championship DNA.
They
And when
do.
you have championship DNA, just like the Warriors,
Yeah, they know how to
you can
win
find a
games.
way to
Yep,
win
they'll
even
find a
when
way.
you're not supposed to be
They'll find a
winning.
way.
So
I,
that's my thing with the Chiefs is I'm not as scared of them this year as I was in previous years, but you do not want to get Patrick Mahomes in your life.
well, and I think that's the situation that people need. People aren't paying attention to. I
Mhm.
think there are certain wins the Chiefs were able to get in the past couple of years because they were the boogeyman. Okay.
Yep.
And people take for granted the idea of a team being like a boogeyman team, a team just having this sort of mental edge that people go into a game. And it's not like they're saying, like, oh, we're going to lose this game. But there are certain teams where you go into the game and you just a little bit like, once something goes the wrong way, you kind of start thinking like, damn,
Here we go again.
Here we go.
man.
Here we
The
go.
Patriots for 20 years. The
And
Steelers,
I mean,
at one point in time, Lambeau Field. Yeah, I agree.
and I think with the Chiefs the past couple of years, that's how it's felt, right? They've been that boogeyman team where it doesn't matter how well your team is playing. There's always been that one time in the game where something happened for the Chiefs, and you're like, shit, here it goes. Damn, Patrick Mahomes. But this
It
year
happened
of
this.
all years,
It happened this week. It happened this
It-
last week. It happened this last week. If they don't call the offsides, here it goes again. Here it goes
here it go
again.
again. But I think this year has been the year, especially with this receiving core. The defense is a good defense. Don't get me wrong. But with this receiving core, this is the one year where I think there are going to be some teams in the AFC that if they get up on the Chiefs in a playoff game, they like, we got these boys.
Yeah.
We got them right where we want them. Because this has been the year where the Chiefs have kind of shown some cracks in some areas where people have been questioning. Do they miss Eric Bieniemy a little bit? Should they really have gotten rid of Tyreek Hill? Like, they think they just can do it with anybody off the street.
Right.
And I think there are teams who in their buildings, they're not going to come out and say it because you don't want to give a team billboard material. But there are definitely teams in their building within the AFC that are like, shit, let's get up on these boys and it's done. That's a wrap. Like Patrick Mahomes, it's a wrap. That man ain't going to do anything this year. And I think there are a lot of teams that are starting to get more and more confident as they go on. The Ravens, I definitely think the Ravens, we just haven't. The Chiefs have been lucky enough to not run into a fully healthy Baltimore team during this whole run the past couple of years. But Baltimore is built to beat the Chiefs.
Yes.
They cannot stop a running quarterback. We've seen the struggles against Joe Burrow. We've seen the struggles against Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm telling you now, Baltimore wins that game. I don't care
if he runs.
If he runs. If he decides he want to pull an RG3 and say, "Oh, I want to be a pro pocket passer and I'm going to stay in the pocket all day," well, then obviously he deserved to go ahead and lose that game.
Yep.
But
agreed.
If he runs, that game's over. I'm going to tell you right now, if that's the matchup we see in the playoffs, you ain't even got to ask me who I'm picking for that matchup. Baltimore.
I'll take the Ravens too. I'll take the Ravens. I don't, like I said, I'm with you, X. I think the Chiefs I think they're motivated, but it's still, it's one thing to be motivated and it's one thing to be that, like Ish said, the boogeyman. It's one thing to have it if you catch the football. If they catch the football, then all of this is mute right now. We wouldn't even be talking. We'd be talking about
if they run the right routes.
Yep.
Because a lot of the interceptions this year have been bust.
Yep.
Miscommunication. Just sound like miscommunications. And we all receivers or DBs and whatnot, at one point in time, we know when it comes to quarterback, if a quarterback cannot trust you, if a quarterback cannot rely on you doing the right things, you will not get the ball.
Any of them fools right now.
You would not get the ball. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all plays out. At the end of the day, when it comes to Ric Flair, to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Yep.
So tell somebody knock the Chiefs out and let them know that, hey, it's the Ravens time now or the Dolphins time now or even the Browns.
It'll all depend on the matchup. So I think y'all called out a couple of things that for me, I'm going to say it now. The Denver team, that's a team that they ain't got nothing to lose.
Nope,
you don't want to play
dangerous.
them.
They're dangerous.
Houston, they ain't got nothing to lose. You
don't
want to
play
that
CJ
team.
Stroud.
Those are the kind of teams that I think that when you, or even Cleveland, they ain't got nothing to lose. Those teams are dangerous. And especially the ones that have a defense, they have a good enough quarterback that he can carry them, not necessarily carry them, but he's not going to cause them to lose games.
Right.
Those teams are dangerous come playoff time, and that's the worst part because depending on some of these matchups, like the Chiefs, they could lose a first-round playoff game this year
Yes.
just because they run into one of these teams that they just don't have anything to lose. They go out there and they just like, you know what? We're going to come out here. We're going to upset somebody. We really don't care. If we win this one game and we lose the next game, who cares, right? We already happen to be here. Like, that's the kind of team that in the AFC side, that's what I'm most nervous about. Denver sneak in, Buffalo gets back in here,
Oh boy.
Houston, like those are the teams
Them
that
three.
they end
They'll
up
be at
making
the
a
bottom.
run, and
Yeah.
somehow you like, how
How
that
the
team in the
hell?
AFC
Yeah.
Championship game, and it's
Yeah.
like because that team is just built right now on we ain't got nothing to lose. We don't come out here and we just gonna play.
Yep.
I
If
love
those
the
three get in
convo.
at the bottom, they can win.
I love the
Guaranteed.
convo, guys. I think everybody what y'all have to say is correct and logical as well. I mean, it's going to be a wild
Man,
last 3 weeks of the season for the AFC. So we'll see how that all plays out. Let's finish up with the NFC. Like I stated before, I mean, realistically, it's the 49ers, Cowboys, and depending on how you look at this team, these two teams, the Lions and the Eagles.
No, don't even put the Lions in there.
No,
Stop
I
that.
will. No,
Stop. No, stop
no,
that.
I will, because just like we talked about in the AFC, there could be a matchup, right? There could be a certain matchup where if the Lions play against the Cowboys in the division in the second round or whatnot, I don't see why they can't beat the Cowboys.
Well, I'll
You
put
can
it
call me
this
crazy
way.
if you want to, but
I'll put it this way, X. The NFC is the best of the worst, and that's the 49ers. Period. End of story. The NFC is just, you got four teams that you can put up there, and you only got three that's good and one that's elite. And the elite, the 49ers are not, they're the best team, but you're only as good. The bad thing for them is their worst player is their quarterback, and that could cost them in the playoffs. Brock Purdy hasn't played bad yet.
So when it's coming is what you're saying. It's supposed to happen, right?
Well, it's gonna happen.
It's due, right? You can't just play this well for this long, right?
Right. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is they got so many weapons that he's bound to play bad when they need him to play good. That's what's going to happen.
Some people will say you're a hater for saying that, Adrian.
No, that's just football facts.
I agree. No, I agree.
Football facts. The Eagles.
They don't play football. They will say you're a hater. I'm just saying.
And the Eagles. I told y'all in early in the very beginning when we had the podcast in the very early stages. The Eagles are pressing. They've been pressing the whole year. Now they're 3-game losing streak because it's Super Bowl or bust, and you can feel the tension, man. You can see it in them, man. It's like now they're reeling. They don't know what to do. Like, man, we're about to lose the number 1 seed. We're not even gonna be. We're gonna be on the road. Oh, life's miserable for them. They're done.
But
and
shit,
the
could be the best thing for them though, Adrian.
No, it could be, but
playing that underdog role because that's how they won the first Super Bowl.
Well, they ain't finna win the Super Bowl like that this year. But the Cowboys, the bad thing for the Cowboys is that they believe when they don't need to believe.
That's a quote for you right there.
They believe so much that they got that fool's goal. They got serious fool's goal. You have played.
Is that the James Harden when you need him in the playoffs fool's goal? Is what you're saying?
Well, they haven't played good against no team that's good. They've never. They won one game that was worth something. All the games that they needed to win, they did not win, and they didn't even look impressive. They never look impressive. It's one thing to lose and go, "Hey man, we looked impressive," and we lost, and we got a few things to clean up, and we'll be okay. They haven't done that yet. They've won, and again, winning is what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Winning is what it's about, but it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty enough. It ain't pretty enough to talk what they're talking. That's the bad thing.
And I'm looking back at their schedule because I want to remind myself, and what you're saying is pretty much correct. The one big win that they had was against the Eagles, who at the moment is a number 5 seed, which was by 20. You lost to the Bills last week. You beat the Seahawks by 6. Of course, you beat up on teams like the Commanders and the Giants or whatnot. That's easy. You beat the Rams by 23, which is a 7 seed at the moment. You get curb stomped by the 49ers by 32 points, which is the one team that's your measuring stick to figure out how good you really are. So I mean, you're not speaking out of hate for the Cowboy, because it seems like, as a Cowboy fan, if you don't say anything good about him, you're a hater. You're just seeing what you see. You see what you see on film, and Ish, what's up?
No, I was gonna say the important thing that I want to address Cowboy fans on, because Cowboy fans, and I think a lot of fans are bad at this, right? Like you said, they got one win that's worthwhile, that you can really say against a contender, we saw you do this. The problem about that is, and the problem that fans often have, Philly was a contender when you played them, yes.
Yes.
And yes, that was a big game at the time.
Yes.
However, sometimes there are sheeps in wolf that wear wolf's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at that game now and say, maybe that Philly team wasn't as good as we thought they were.
Yeah.
Right.
That win maybe wasn't as good as we thought it was. And that is one of the things that Cowboys fans need to be wary of.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you beat a team you were supposed to beat,
Yep.
and it wasn't as much of you played really well against a really good contender and beat them. But again, we don't know that yet, right? Like, a lot of people really want to jump on the Eagles at this time and say, "Oh, this, that. Look at Jalen Hurts." There's all this criticism going around about the Eagles. I still think the Eagles are one of the top teams in the NFC. I think that, like you said, there's a difference when the pressure is on a Super Bowl or bust. There's a difference. Not every team has the ability to play under that kind of pressure where we need to win this year.
Yep.
We have to win this year. Not because you're built to win that year, but more so like the expectation of the potential on that team requires you to do something with that.
Well, I think that their leader, the problem is and I think it comes from the leadership within. Kelsey's obviously a leader. He's talked about retiring.
Yep.
You
Yep.
got
Yep.
on the back end, you got Darius Slay. He's getting up in age, and he's,
Lane
you
Johnson,
got Cox, Fletcher Cox,
Brandon Graham.
right.
Yeah.
You got these guys that
That's
that
right.
that 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 have experienced it, tasted it, and know that, hey man, we thought we would be back easily, and it doesn't happen, and now you're pressing, and it's a different feeling. It's a totally different feeling. And I always go back to, like I said, I tell a story all the time. Played arena football. We got beat by the same team 4 times in the same year for the Arena Bowl championship, and I thought, oh, we'll be back, and man, never seen it again. Never seen it again. And I remember that feeling of the next year, like it's do or die. Like we got the same team. But then it's like this team's gonna be broken up if we don't win it. If we don't win it, we're gonna be broken up. And it's like the only team that I ever think of that survived it in any sport was the Bulls. When they knew that they were going to be at the end of their thing, and they was like, it doesn't matter, we're going to win the championship and walk away into the sunset. And I think the Eagles I think that the Eagles are a good team, but I think that they're pressing so hard as a team collectively that they cannot get out of their own way.
That was a lot to take there. I appreciate both of y'all for being on tonight. I think that was a great discussion from the state of football to where we are now when it comes to heading into the playoffs. This is one of the reasons why football, I feel, is one of the best sports, maybe the best sport in the world. Again, I know everybody will chime in with their sport, which is understandable, but football in general just teaches you so many life lessons. It's just the competitive nature of it, just wanting to get better week by week, learning from your mistake. It's a lot of things you can take from football, you can apply it to your life. So that's one another reason why I love football as well. Anything you guys have to say before we get on out of here for tonight, Ish, Adrian?
Well, if I don't talk to you guys or I'm not on the show, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays, Kwanzaa, whatever you go by. If you don't celebrate, then so be it. But enjoy, be safe, all of those things that matter to you.
Even if you don't celebrate anything, I'm pretty sure people will celebrate not having to go to work on a
Right.
Monday. So
that's it.
Happy whatever you want to call it weekend.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna enjoy my weekend. I'll tell you that. As always, we appreciate y'all for joining in at XtalknIsh tonight. We will see you guys on Sunday for Christmas Eve for a quick pregame show. And also, we got to hurry up and do it because it's my daughter's birthday party as well. So we'll be in and out on Sunday, and then we'll join y'all back again on Tuesday.
Your daughter was born on day before Christmas?
She was born actually tomorrow. She was born on the 20th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She
I was
was
going to
born
say my
my
granddaughter was born on the day before Christmas.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't get two gifts, unfortunately.
She does.
She probably
does.
I'm pretty sure that means she sounds like she's very, very spoiled.
She is.
In a good way.
She does. And we make sure that she opens birthday on birthday.
Gotcha.
So she can enjoy her birthday and Christmas on Christmas.
Got to.
See, my wife has her younger brother, his birthday is the 23rd. So once he got older, both of his gifts started to be combined. So when you're younger, you could probably get away with having both gifts because the gift probably aren't as expensive. Once you get older, it's like, hey, you only get 1 or 2 couple big gifts, and they all are incorporated on your birthday and in Christmas. So
yeah,
like I said again, appreciate you guys for being on tonight. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see y'all next week here on XtalknIsh.